All right, welcome to Beaches Watch February meeting. This is our State of the Beaches meeting, which is always one of our most popular ones. I'm Maria Mark, I'm president of Beaches Watch and also your host for tonight. So before we get started, we just have some brief announcements, because I want to give all of our time to our esteemed mayors. Okay, so we are videotaping our meeting, as we always do. It will be on our YouTube channel tomorrow at Beaches Watch 2012, or you can access it on our website, beacheswatch.com. We have our membership drive going, $15 for individual, $20 for family, and we have $5 for students. It's a yearly membership, valid from January through December, and you can renew your membership tonight. Our ladies here sitting at the table, or you can go online at beacheswatch.com. If you're not a resident of the beaches area, you can also just give a supportive donation. So, we'd like to go ahead and recognize our elected officials. Once you have signed in, if I miss someone, I will ask for that recognition. Of course, we have our mayors, Chris Hoffman, mayor from Jacksonville Beach. Our newly elected mayor, Curtis Ford from Atlantic Beach, Elaine Brown. Elaine Brown will be here. She's at another meeting, so she will be the last to present. We have Candace Kelly, who is our commissioner of Atlantic Beach. Sandy Golden, councilmember of Jacksonville. Connie and Michael, from representing our state rep. And we have Lori Diamond, where is in that? Jacksonville City Council representative. Do I have any other?
Corey Nichols, Jacksonville Beach.
Corey Nichols, Jacksonville Beach. Thank you for joining us. Anybody else? Okay, so this is just a special announcement, just because this is a special occasion. We want to recognize Kathy and Jim Varian. Where are you? Stand up. I want you to know, 6 years ago, they met here February 1 at our beaches, our State of the Beaches meeting. So, see, we're also matching an organization for singles. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us. Okay, a couple of date changes because of President's Day. Neptune Beach City Council workshop will now be on Tuesday, February 21st at 6 p.m. The Jacks Beach City Council meeting will also be on Tuesday, February 21st at 6 p.m. Jacksonville Beach Land Development Code workshop, that's going to be held Thursday, February 23rd at 5:30, and this is going to be about parking, our favorite subject. Neptune Beach Senior Center opens, yay, today. Hooray, Neptune House in Jarman Park. So, we have a save the date. We are hosting the Jacksonville Mayoral Candidate Forum. Okay, so put this on your calendar. February 22nd at 7 p.m. It's going to be held at the Beaches Vineyard Church, formerly known as the Atlantic Theaters, next to Fish Company. We have 6 of the 8 candidates confirmed so far. We will be sending out an email to all of our members and and who's on our email list, asking you to please, if you can, RSVP to us if you are planning to attend and how many are planning to come with you. We are asking for everyone to try and carpool because of parking. We don't want to have parking issues. This is really for our beaches residents, so we really want to give you guys and our members priority seating, so we'll have a list. If you for some reason don't RSVP, that's okay, you can still get in, but we're really just trying to get a good feel for the attendance, okay? So look for that email coming out fairly soon. And then our next meeting, we have it scheduled for March 1st. We may need to move that because the library is not available because of the early voting. But this will be on our 2023 legislative session. We will have Scott Dudley from the Florida League of Cities as our speaker. So we are trying to either find a different location or maybe change the date to a later Wednesday so we can hold it here in the library. So stay tuned for that. But obviously this is really important because what happens in Tallahassee ends up coming down to us. So we really want to be aware of what's going on, okay? And one other thing, on the back table, so we're now in January, we're going to start our planting, getting rid of all the things that have died over the freeze and all that stuff. So we have provided by Beaches Go Green, right? No, I'm sorry.
First Coast Invasive Working Group.
First Coast Invasive Working Group. It's a brochure that gives you a list of alternatives. So when you're looking to landscape, when you're looking to replace, we're really asking you to look at bringing in some, planting native plants. They're best for our environment, they're best for our pollinators, they're good for our landscaping, they don't take as much water, all those resources. So there's a brochure on the back table. Please grab one on your way out. And we also have coming up, it's called a weed wrangle. It's the air potato roundup, that's what it used to be called. We're hosting 2 of those. They're coming up on February 25th. One will be held at Hannah Park, and one will be held at Howell Park. And you just show up, I guess it's starting at what, 9? Is there a time on here? 9 to noon. They'll provide everything, you just need to show up. They'll have the garbage bags, gloves, that sort of thing, but just make sure you wear closed-toed shoes. If you bring a minor, you need to stay with the minor, okay? Parents or guardian. Okay. All right, I think that's it. Any other announcements? Anything else? Okay. So, we will now go ahead and start with our State of the Beaches, and we will lead off with Mayor Chris Hoffman from Jacksonville Beach. One other thing, we will let all 3 mayors give their presentations, and we will host Q&A following that. Okay?
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This husky voice I have, I'm not sick, it is allergies. When you go outside, you'll see that thin layer of pollen on your car. You won't understand this, but I feel fine. Thank you for your concern. Thank you, Beaches Watch, for having us here. This is always a great opportunity for us to come out and talk to you, mayor, to community. Raise your hand if you're a Jacksonville Beach resident. Okay, great. Oh, good. We got a great. Yeah, I see you, Brown. So glad to have you all here and anybody who's watching in the future. And I'm also really glad to go first because I found out a minute ago that Mayor Brown is going to be showing a 10-minute professionally produced video. Professionally, I mean by a professional police commander, not a movie crew, but still would rather not go behind that. So thank you for the opportunity to start us off. And I want to thank my colleague Corey, and of course Sandy is always here, and Jacob Ward, who is with in the communications department. He is the communications department for the city of Jacksonville Beach, for helping put this presentation together. And you'll see it looks really good, except for the parts that I did. You'll be able to know where those are pretty easily. So you guys recognize this view? See how fancy it is, look at that. So this is us, this is our city council. This is relatively the same crew that you saw when I did this presentation last year. Although we have Greg Sutton there in at-large seat 3. He was appointed to replace Chet Stokes, who resigned to run for State House. And then Bill Horn, District 2, seat 5, who ran unopposed to fill the seat that was being vacated by Georgette Dumont. So we all have our new headshots now, and we're looking great. Not as tired as we actually feel, as you'll see. And I will say we were asked to do a recap of 2022 and a preview of 2023, but if you've been involved in really any organization, but definitely city government, these things are rarely linear. So this is a little all over the place. Things don't necessarily stop and start in 1 year. But one of the things we did this year that I was really proud to have started under my tenure as mayor was the Citizen Information Academy. This was a really great opportunity. It was multi-week where we brought in eventually it'll be citizens, regular citizens who can apply. In this case, we had a trial run with city employees and members of our citizen boards. So I think there was about 24 or so people that participated, and they learned everything from an overview of the history of the city on to the operations of our water treatment plants, which is just a really great tour if you ever get the chance. So that was a big success, and we will be bringing that back again. So please keep an eye out for that. I think anybody who is interested in learning more about the city, if you're interested in getting more involved, that's a great opportunity to do that. We also had a really extensive charter review. It hadn't been done in a comprehensive way in 30-some odd years. So we spent months and months, I think around 9 months, going through it literally line by line. And that resulted in 16 amendments being placed on the ballot in 2022. And I got a lot of angry texts as people were heading into election day or early voting that hadn't checked out their sample ballot. A lot of it was cleanup. A lot of it was just, it hasn't been done in this long, and we want to make sure we're in line with state law. And I did a presentation here, some of you may have seen, of the 16 amendments, all but 2 passed. Sadly, the one that I was using as the joke of like how obvious these cleanups were, which was the fact that the mayor section only references he, failed. So I don't know what that means for me, but I'm glad my name is Chris. So I don't know, I think there might have been some confusion and maybe some frustration with certain citizens of the gender pronoun issue in the bigger picture. And then the other one was that the voters support that I can compel city council members to attend meetings by sending the police to their house. So I'm excited. The voters said I can do it. So Sandy and Corey, you just watch out. You get that knocking at your door. But those two, we have to wait a full year before we put them back on the ballot. But I would anticipate that we will probably go ahead and maybe do it. Once we only have 2, we'll look at doing that a little more thorough education. One of them, and I actually would credit Councilman Golding for proposing this, was really the only substantive change with the new thing, which was to allow citizens to propose a new ordinance or to repeal an ordinance. Right now you can propose a charter amendment through a petition, but there wasn't any way, if you just don't like a law or if you want to add a new law, there wasn't a way for citizens to do that through petition. And now there is. It got some opposition, but it was, I think, by people that just didn't really understand what we were doing there. But that is a new option for citizens to petition their government, so I'm glad that that passed as well. And then urban trails, something we've been working on for quite some time. This concept came out of a lot of community meetings and visioning meetings that our city manager had done. The idea of being able to get safely from point A to point B in our city, not in an automobile. So on a bike, on a skateboard, pushing a stroller, what have you. So we hired an outside firm out of Gainesville. They did a lot of community meetings, and we've been talking about this extensively for quite some time. And this is where we are with the maps. So it may not look like much to you now, but these are kind of the proposed routes. So they're all different. There's a key for what all of the colors mean, and some of them might be separately divided pathways. Some of them may be existing area where maybe we one-way a street and make the other side for bikes and pedestrians. So they're all going to be a little bit different. This isn't something that is, I said it the other day, this is more of a mentality and an approach versus something that's going to start on a certain day and end on a certain day. So for example, the bottom right is Jacksonville Drive, where we're doing some drainage improvements. So we took that opportunity to add a wide path. So there's an 8-foot path there now on Jacksonville Drive. So if anybody lives on Jacksonville Drive, I'm sorry. Probably they're not here because they can't get out of their houses. And we have proposed, the council agrees that we're going to prioritize the east-west transit. So to get your family on a bike or stroller wagon safely from east of Penn or west of Penn to the beach, we want to be able to focus on that first. So this is going to inform us anytime, Penman Road improvements are coming. We want to be able to be ready with our proposal for urban trails before we do any sort of road construction. Oh, this is fun. Look at the kids running down there at the bottom. I didn't do that. So Sunshine Playground, this was a project that was supposed to be a little further out, but again, due to those community conversations, community feedback, our community redevelopment agency really pushed that up, and it is fantastic. It was the council members at the opening, we were sliding down slides and doing the whole 9 yards. I think this was actually the video of the opening when all the kids came running in. So it's a great resource. It just makes that whole area at South Beach Park just really, really exceptional. So we're really proud of that. And some of the iconic Jacksonville Beach features there. And then not to be outdone, Gonzales Park is next on our list. So we've been going back and forth again. We hired an outside consultant. We did several community meetings to really help put Gonzales Park on par. It's not the same park. It's a neighborhood park. It's surrounded by homes, but we want to make it something that our neighbors can be really proud of. So this is kind of what the plans are looking like now. Pickleball, I guess, is a thing. We're all about pickleball, so I don't get it. Corey Nichols, I'm going to give credit there. He really advocated for that. So if you're a pickleball fan and this is a convenient park for you, then you can thank Corey. Actually, I'm not sure if this is the most recent version, but it's been going through a lot of tweaks and changes. Going back really quick, I forgot to mention Sunshine Playground. There's a ton more shade. We did a lot of shade structures over there, and we did save the mermaid entrance, and that was important, especially to the people who worked on the original park. The pier. It's not our pier. It is Jacksonville's pier, but we were very happy to be there to help reopen it. And also very happy to see that the city of Jacksonville selected Beach Life Rentals as the vendor to operate the pier. If you know Kurt DeWitt, you know he's all about service and being welcoming and open to visitors, and he is going to do a wonderful job. So he kind of just got going with the new admission schedule and things like that. But have anybody been out on the new pier? It's fantastic. So it was, I don't know if it was worth the wait because it's been quite some time, but it's really beautiful and they did a great job on it. And it withstood its first, I guess it wasn't a hurricane, but the first 2 storms. One little piece popped out both times. One time it floated away. The second time it floated away, and they weren't going to open the pier for the Supergirl surf contest, and I was like, oh, we're going to find that piece. So I put a bolo out, the news media picked it up, they found the piece, and they just set it right back in. So that's what it's designed to do. The pieces are designed to pop out so that it doesn't take the whole pier down like it did last time.
Who's the dog?
Oh my gosh.
It's not bad.
This is George. Here with Lori. He had to come, although there are no pets allowed on the pier other than service animals, so we're going to go ahead and cover that. A few new things that we have going on. We have Dick Mondell's coming, where the old car wash was down in the south end. Beach Bowl is moving right along, which is very exciting. Spring Hill Suites, and then the Jacksonville Beach Town Center. Okay, we're going to say it together. Oaxaca. Ready? Oaxaca. Okay, it's not Oaxaca. It's Oaxaca. So we're all going to get this right. But that is the new Mexican restaurant that's going to be coming to that development, as well as Jekyll Island Brewing. So Oaxaca. I've done my part. It's a beautiful space. We toured it the other day, and it's just going to be a real game changer downtown. Let's see what's the next slide. Oh, and Eats. So, Lone Wolf Company, has anybody been there yet? How about 1928 Cuban Bistro? They're in the same shopping center, so they're in that strip where Mojo's and 15 is, so I'm excited to check those out. And then Oku. I don't know why all the new downtown restaurants have names that are challenging to people, but Oku is the new Japanese restaurant. Anybody been there? It's awesome, right? We all love it? Okay, good. And they're getting right in the game. They're hosting something for the Donna Marathon this weekend, which would be great. Okay, so a couple things downtown. We just had a joint meeting with the CRA, and we were able to see the first selection by our relatively new public art committee. They're going to be painting a mural on the Cape building, the police building at the surface lot there. I don't think that's exactly the mural, but that's the artist. And then I'm excited about the dolphin bike racks, and then we're going to be working on some wayfinding signage in our downtown area. So I'm excited to see some of those improvements and changes coming in. And then I mentioned the Jackson Beach Town Center. We are also, we've approved a pilot program for sidewalk dining. Again, this came from our community vision meetings. People want to be outside. Also with COVID, people were begging for outdoor options to sit outside, to not be confined within a building, and our laws just weren't. That's 2 plus 5, right? Okay, right? You did that based on 15 minutes.
You get to talk to Madam.
I just want to make sure. I know you're not going to tell me. So anyway, so we approved a pilot program to have outdoor seating on the right-of-way, and this is the perfect spot. If you go by, you can see kind of where it's, this is just an artistic rendering. It's not exactly what it's going to look like. You won't be able to walk around with a drink. You will be able to go into that area to dine, to have a drink, cocktail, whatever the case may be, from those 2 restaurants. So that's going to be really exciting. It's right along Latham Plaza, so couldn't be a better location. And then this is not the most recent renderings, but we are working on a redesign of Latham Plaza to provide, again, some more shade, some more, perhaps some public art, a little more useful entertainment areas. It gets, obviously, on festival weekends, it's very busy and there's a lot going on there, but every other weekend or every other day of the week, it's relatively quiet. So we want to engage Latham Plaza a little bit more and integrate it a little more into the surrounding businesses. Let's see. This is the big thing. We worked on the charter this past year. This year, the focus is on the comp plan and the land development code. So you can see, I'm sure you can all read in great detail that chart at the bottom, but that just shows you kind of the time, the order of things and the timeline that we're going to go through. There is a special website if you're interested in learning more about this, the cojbupdate.com. You can go on, you can submit your feedback, you can see all of the documents, you can see all of the presentations. So that's being done by Kimberly Horn, who is leading us through this process. So again, there's a lot of opportunity for citizen input here, so we really want you to take advantage of that. And then some other issues we're facing, not necessarily an issue, but just to let everybody know, we have a new trash contractor. Our contract with Waste Management ended, and we have selected Waste Pro. So you will be seeing some changes to your bill, just like you're seeing changes on all of your bills. So heads up there. And just like every other company, every other employer, hiring is a big issue for us. This is a little snip of the video that our police department put together. It's a, I don't know, Scorsese-esque recruitment video. That's what everyone's saying. It's really good, but it shows the balance between all of the different hats that our police department officers wear, but we're also in a coastal community, and there's the beach and all of that applies. I had to use this picture, sorry to call out Naples Fire Department, but didn't we all see this when Hurricane Ian, thank you. And their fire truck was sitting right there, and when you're in municipal government, all you're thinking is like, oh my gosh, that thing cost like $4 million, and it's going to take them 18 to 24 months to get a new one. And that is not even an exaggeration. It's taking so much longer to get, we have really heavy specialized equipment, so it's taking a really long time to get all of that. So I'm very glad we're not in their position. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Okay, so as far as state issues, we have a new state representative, and I'm so glad that she's here. Where is she? Representative Michael is here, and we're excited to, and she's already come and done a tour of City Hall, and we've sat down and kind of just done a get-to-know-you meeting with our city manager, myself, and so we're looking forward to working with her through the session, as well as our state senator is not new to Tallahassee, but is new to the position. Senator Yarborough, and we're going to have a new mayor. So there's a lot of, and new, things are changing in the county as well. Please pay attention to the Duval County elections. They're coming March 21st. This impacts us. Even though we have our local governments, we need to be able to work well with the county and with our representatives, such as Councilman Rory Diamond. I'm waiting for that. Yeah, there he is. And then, so we're always watching short-term rentals. We're really watching anything that affects our ability to keep legislative decisions as close to the voters as possible, as close to our citizens, and that's a really big one. But anything that applies unfunded mandates, things that may be burdensome, unnecessarily burdensome to the taxpayer. So please keep an eye out when the legislative session starts. I know Beaches Watch does a great job keeping you guys informed on that. So what else was there? Oh, we have a local bill called, with a J bill, we have JB1. And this is to create an incentive zone in our downtown district. And what it does is take the requirement for seats in a restaurant from 150 to 50, 150 to 50 in order to have a full alcohol bar. So basically the idea is to allow smaller entrants into the marketplace. And I'll tell you, one of the first ones that would have benefited from this is Oakley. So they had to really stretch to even meet that 150 requirement. If this passes, the restaurants would not be able to be open past midnight, so we are really trying to avoid that rhino concept that we've seen here in the past. So it did pass the Duval delegation, so it's on to Tallahassee, and want to thank Councilman Nichols, who has been dogging that issue for us and helping carry it along. It's just in our downtown area, and it's really the goal is to help smaller restaurants enter our area. So then you have, I'm so good at time here. These are all, please follow us on Facebook. Please follow it. I mean, we're on everything now. This is very different from when I started on council. We were like, what are we talking about? Facebook. It's a great way to stay informed. The Donna Run is this weekend. If you haven't looked at the new route, you might want to make sure to do that. And then finally, Sandy, this is for you. I was in Antarctica a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know what, they gave you the jacket, I don't know what I'm going to do with the jacket, but that's a Gen 2 penguin, and you can't really probably tell, but all up on the rocks, that's all penguins. You also can't really tell how bad it smells right there at and then like going up the hill in the background, those are penguin highways. They just walk in the same place just to kind of push down the snow and have an easier walking. And they slide up and down those. I don't know how they do the sliding up, but I watched it happen. So it was an amazing trip and a really unique experience. And I was glad to come home and you still have the same image. Anyway, thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you very much. Now we are going to bring out the mayor first for this Beaches Watch debut.
Thank you, Maria. I'm so blessed for this debut. Now, I want to start out by saying, Chris, that presentation was awesome. I will not remember any of it, but I will remember Oaxaca. I got that. Thank you. So, I want to start out, it's really important for me to, before we talk about Atlantic Beach and what's happening there, for us to talk about the fact that we are in the unenviable position of looking for a new city manager. But the good news is our city manager that is leaving for good reasons and on good terms. And he actually is with us here today. I want to thank Shane Corbin for all of the things. I am so lucky to be leading this city as mayor, knowing all the things that I've discovered in just 2 short months that Shane has done to put us in a great position, staffing, funding, organization. And you're going to hear a little bit about that, so thank you, Shane, and good luck. His new position, I believe, is Development Services Director, New Smyrna Beach, if I got that right. Thank you, Shane. So anyways, we also are embarking on a charter review. You'll hear more about that. This is a 12 to 14 month process that we just named the committee participants last week, or this week. And that's a committee of 13. It'll take us some time and we'll meet monthly on a regimen. But we actually have it set in our charter to meet every 8 years. So we started the last meetings about 6.5 years ago. And of course what happens is These recommendations will come back to the commission for approval to move forward to be on the next ballot in 2024 as a referendum. So I think, Chris, you said you had like 14 or 16. That's quite a few. I'm hoping it's not so many for Atlantic Beach, but it is an important thing for us to get done. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what I sensed as I was running for mayor of Atlantic Beach and what I'm so pleased to discuss tonight, and it's our customer-centric service for our citizens. So I look at citizens as customers, and I hope you do too. But I want to stress this is customer-centric, not customer service, and yet customer service is very important to all of us. But I found in the past, if you focus only on customer service, you tend to start blaming the employees are either good at it or bad at it, and that's why we don't have happy customers. So this is a different approach. It's about looking at the processes that deliver a good customer experience. And I'm delighted to say that we're well on our way. And quite frankly, all of this was actually in development and is being rolled out as I took over as mayor. So it's not me changing the culture. It's the leadership in Atlantic Beach was already in the process of changing culture. And so let's talk about what that means. It starts, for us anyways, with customer service surveys. And we're looking for the hot points, the challenges that people have, whether it's in permitting or getting a approval to rent a city space in one of our parks or a beach bonfire, these types of things. And so we've done surveys, and when you do the surveys, it's not all kept inside internal. This should be published, at least the collective results, for accountability reasons, transparency, so that we get the most out of it. Our employees get the most out of it, but our citizens get the most out of it. And so what we right now are doing, we've done a great job already of going online with our requests to use city facilities at the parks and on the beach and so on, and the citizens love it. We are well on our way to being completely electronic in our building department, and I just think this is going to change everything for us. It's not just customer experience that will result from doing this, but it's efficiency gains for the city. And sometimes people think efficiency gains are, oh, we need less staff. Let's not talk about losing staff, although you never know. It may keep us from having to grow staff to do more work because we have efficiency. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to hit a couple of notes on it. The continuous improvement. I think doing this type of process empowers people, and you get constant review of the process from the bottom up. So it's not all about the leaders making all the policy. It's about people all the way down the line bringing great ideas in, and we've already started some dialogue on that. Here's just a positive, and I noted that Mayor Hoffman also was doing something with their waste management. We had a severe problem a couple of years ago, and I think maybe we were kicking the can down the road because you hate to deal with changing vendors. But we had old equipment on the streets. They were leaking all kinds of terrible fluids and hydraulic fluids. It smelled bad. It was terrible. And they pushed the buttons when they asked us for a lot more money to renew the contract. So we went out and put a RFP out and actually got a really good offer to change to GFL. And so if you drive through Atlantic Beach when we're doing trash pickup, you'll see the beautiful green trucks. They're new, they're clean, they don't leak, at least not yet, and they don't break down yet, so they actually pick up the garbage on time. So that was a big win for Atlantic Beach. Our citizens are extremely happy with that. This is Donner Road improvements is part of our overall plans to connect the city, to increase walkability, rideability, usability of our streets, and safety is a big thing. But what I particularly like about the Donner Road improvements is a couple of things. Donner Road is a connector that connects, I believe it's, I want to say Salt what's the street, Kevin, Salt,
It's a Sandpiper.
oh, Sandpiper, thank you. It connects Sandpiper to Mayport Road, and then if you go to the west side of Mayport Road, that's Levy Road. So what we're doing on Donna Road, this is a long project, and why I like what we're doing is it's comprehensive. So we wanted to put in wider sidewalks. We wanted to beautify it. We wanted to make it more usable, but we also recognize the infrastructure, the stormwater system was in decay. So we did a massive overhaul, removed the old decaying stormwater and are replacing that. So it's a complete rebuild of the street, connecting. And then hopefully in the future we'll also continue that process on the other side of Mayport Road, certainly with the wide sidewalks, because the idea in Atlantic Beach, in order to take care of all of our citizens, we need to do everything we can to bring our residents from the west side of Atlantic Beach to the east side, to the beach. And oh, by the way, we need to bring our east side residents to the west side, to places like Dutton Island and Tideview. So I'm excited about what's going on there. That should be completed this year. It's a quality of life enhancement, and you'll hear more about those types of things from Atlantic Beach coming up. So the next thing is safe, connected, bikeable, walkable streets, connectivity plans, multi-use paths. I just mentioned that 8-foot wide path is a multi-use path, and so it'll be a lot of use. But we need, what we talked about in most recent meetings is doing comprehensive planning and not just single-shot planning, because if we fix the parking problem without looking at the safety and traffic issues simultaneously, then we're going to mess up. So we're, I hope, embarking on comprehensive review, and I'm delighted to say today we've got a $200,000 grant towards our study for just that, with a focus on bike safety and e-bike safety. And I can't wait to talk to my sisters in government and my brothers in commission and council about the things that they're doing in Neptune Beach and Jacksonville Beach around that. But e-bike safety is a hot topic at the beach, no matter which one you live in. So let's see. Let's take a look. LEED for Cities Gold Certification. First of all, who here has ever heard of LEED? Okay, good. So some of you probably will school me on it. I know Steve Piscatelli in the back would probably educate me on some of this, but I've learned about LEED, and LEED stands for, what is that?
Leadership in Environmental and Education Technology.
Okay, it's actually, LEED stands for, thank you, it's close, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design is what it actually, thank you for the 5. Is that a 5 rating, Steve? Can I get to a 10? But anyway, so LEED is a data-driven approach to trying to do things to improve your metrics, improve your results in environmental and energy use and so on. It is wholly appropriate to start it, no matter what side of the fence you're on as far as costs and how small cities can afford to do any of some of these very expensive things. You must begin with data. You can have no conversation without understanding where you are on a baseline. So we embarked on the LEED program 2 years ago. We spent the first year putting together the data. And just by doing that, based on the ratings from that, we came out as a gold member of the LEED program. And I believe we were the first gold in Florida. Is that correct, Candace? First gold in Florida.
With our silver, we were one of the first cities too.
Okay. I'm sorry, silver. I meant to say silver because then we went to gold. But what happened in that first year, it's about working with DEP and water management and all the different stakeholders that help us run our city to collect data and forming those partnerships. So we've done all the heavy lifting. Now it's about updating that data and extracting the metrics from it and trying to improve on them where we can do so efficiently and effectively and with cost in mind. So improving our consumption of drinking water. reducing it actually, using more renewable energy where appropriate and possible, and on and on. It ranks our standing on parks. And what was interesting was we didn't do anything in the second year, but we went from silver to gold just by presenting more information on what we were already doing. And we have a wonderful park system in Elaine Beach. That got us a lot of points. So you'll hear a lot more about Lee. I don't believe Neptune Beach or Jacksonville Beach are yet entertaining it. Maybe Mayor Hoffman would like to sit down at the table and talk to us about our program once you get through all these other fun things we're working on. But, okay, so I'm going to finish up with our upcoming projects because we've got some really cool things going on. The Mayport Road East Coast Greenway has been in progress for a couple of years, and I want to give a particular thanks to the prior commission, the prior mayor, for leading on this. It's not my initiative, but I'll get to follow through on it. We'll actually begin the DOT lane reductions in 2025. Hopefully we'll finish it there. So what we're doing is, if you understand Mayport Road at Atlantic Boulevard, we have 6 lanes, 3 going north, 3 going south. We're going to reduce that to 2 and 2. And before I go any farther, I have to say I've had some objections from citizens saying, well, won't that constrict our traffic sufficiently to create bottlenecks? They remember way back years ago when we had a more vibrant base and we had bottlenecks. So I reached out to base commander, Captain Bender, some of you may know him, and I said, Captain, please tell me if our activities or our actions with the lane reductions would impede or in any way put the base at a disadvantage for growth in the future. And he said no. And a lot of that has to do with the different ships that we have, but also remember many years ago we didn't have one-way expressway bringing traffic in and out of the base. So I'm delighted to say that should not be an impact. And another thing we learned is this. So we think about constricting the traffic down to 2 lanes heading north and 2 south versus 3 and 3. And so it's going to take longer to get down the road. What we found out through the traffic engineers is they found enough efficiencies on our lights and our intersections and so on. They think we'll actually have a net gain. So I'm not promising, but I'm telling you we're cognizant of and we're paying attention to the impact on traffic. But this East Coast Greenway is more than just the traffic reduction. What it is, it's about putting in bike paths and walkable sidewalks and so on to make Mayport Road actually a usable road for our citizens. And we'll run this all the way from Atlantic Boulevard up to Dutton Island Road we're terminating because now we're in the city of Jacksonville. So Rory, we got to talk about Jacksonville, Rory.
Anything you want, Mayor?
All right. But anyway, so lifeguard station, we're moving forward on an additional design to expand the lifeguard station. We're retaining, as you may well know, the old building that Bill Morgan, architect Bill Morgan, had designed, so we're expanding that. I'm very excited about that. The splash pad is for our West Atlantic Beach or Marsh Oaks, and it'll be located at the Baker Center site at Dutton, or Donner Park, thank you. So splash pad is being bid right now. Hopefully we won't get too out of line on the bid because I'd love to see that project completed. Finally, the Baker Center expansion has been a passion of mine, even back to when I was running Beaches Habitat for Humanity. The city has continued to work on that. What we really want from that is a community building. But what we want is we want to expand our senior services. So that is where that's going to happen. We're working hard with the city of Jacksonville, specifically Rory is our champion on that. So hopefully, Rory, soon you'll give us some good news on the Baker Center expansion, because that will help not only Atlantic Beach, but citizens of the city of Jacksonville off Mayport Road. So excited to say we are in a good place in Atlantic Beach. We've got about a $56 million budget. We're solid. We have reasonably low debt. We've accomplished, I think we've taken in almost $7 million in the last couple of years through government programs from the CARES Act and the infrastructure bill and so on. So these monies have not yet been spent because, as many of you know, it's hard to get projects done with supply chain disruptions and so on. But we've got enough money to complete a lot of our smaller infrastructure projects over the next couple of years. And one of my jobs is to try to figure out how I can help our city staff through the commission to accelerate these projects and get them done quicker so we can move on to other important things. But I am delighted to be your mayor if you're in Atlantic Beach, a mayor of the beaches. And I'll leave you with this final story. One of the reasons why I ran for mayor is, thank you, Stephen, I'm all the way down to 0. But anyways, my mother and I talked, and when I was 12 years old, I told Mom I want to be mayor of the beaches. And Mom said, well, which beach? You know, like, is there more than one? But I wanted to be mayor of the beaches. I'm so pleased to be in this position to represent Atlantic Beach and lots of big things. Thank you.
Okay, we were waiting for Mayor Brown. Looks like she is still detained, so Commander Keys will be starting the presentation if she happens to come in or if she can finish that. So. And of course, they always get the award for the best video. So.
Thank you, good evening. My name is Mike Key. I'm not Elaine Brown. So I wasn't planning on introducing or speaking for Mayor Brown. She obviously is indisposed right now, but hopefully by the end of this video she'll be available. In this you'll see me, so again I wasn't planning on being here. And contrary, before I hit play, I have to get this in, contrary to Mayor Hoffman's statement that it was professionally produced, it is, I'm a guy with an iPhone and a glutton to work overtime on the weekends.
I did caveat that you were a professional.
Hello and welcome to the 2023 State of the City meeting of Neptune Beach. We're happy that you're with us. I'm Commander Mike Key, the Public Information Officer for your ABPD. On behalf of the City of Neptune Beach, Mayor Brown, the City Council, all of its amazing employees, I'd like to highlight some amazing things your government is doing for you. To start us off, a message from Mayor Brown.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank everybody at Beaches Watch for having this wonderful events so that everybody gets to kind of hear the exciting things that are going on in all of these cities. Neptune Beach has had a great year. We have finished the charter park, which was certainly something that had been going on for quite a while, and now it is so unused. We're so excited about it. And if you go there, you're going to pickleball over it, you're going to really enjoy it, tennis over it. We certainly have a lot of children's equipment, and it's going to be a great park for the future for a lot of people. One of the things that we're doing right now is we're using Neptune House as the senior center, and we're working to complete the senior center, which will be done very shortly. We hope. It's something that's been going on for a while, but now we feel as though we're on the right path for it. So many people to thank for a year well done in 2022, because it was a tough year in many ways. Our employees are just the best. And having said that, I can point out that you're going to be meeting some, which are going to be some of the people that help to keep the city running in a beautiful way and in a good way to serve all of the residents of Neptune Beach. I can truthfully say to you that the projects that we have going on, which you're going to hear about tonight, are some that are a big necessity, especially our infrastructure. And as we're looking forward to how we can improve infrastructure and how we as a city can improve it through the years. We'll be looking at new budget items that will be coming up that will include a lot of grants And you'll meet someone who really does a lot of our grant writing for us, Colin Moore, who does a lot more for the city as well. Most important to us is we have our police department, the beginning chief, and we have one of the finest police departments ever. And I can truthfully say to you and every single person in this whole city knows that we have the best officers and the best safety records. So that's a great thing. Our park is up and running. Our city is up and running. There's a lot more to be done, and we'll be doing it together to serve the residents and to make sure that we have the great quality of life that all of us expect in Neptune Beach.
Thanks, Mayor. The city has several departments comprised of employees who strive daily to make your city a great place to live. To hear from one of them, I'd like to introduce you to the Chief of Police, Richard Pike.
As a law enforcement accredited agency, Neptune Beach Police Department holds its employees' practices and policy to the highest standards. We achieve this by continuously hiring the best candidates, providing them with the best training and equipment, and fostering a great working environment. We have earned the respect of our community, and we count on them to meet the high standards of our city. So we're striving to improve and are committed to getting more best in the Neptune Beach Police Department.
The Neptune Beach Police Department is comprised of 31 full-time members, with 22 of them being sworn and 8 civilian staff. I'd like to now introduce you to those employees.
Hello, my name is Officer Joseph Richardson. I've been with the Neptune Beach Police Department for approximately 2 years. Previously, before coming to Neptune Beach, I was employed in the County Street Police for 14 years, and 9 of those years was spent as a school resource officer. I am married to my wife, Donna. We have 3 lovely kids. I love the city. It is very, very well here. I appreciate everything that they do here for us as a police department in whole. I enjoy being here. I look forward to being here as long as I possibly can. Thank you.
My name is Elaine Dean. I'm an emergency communications training officer here at the police department. Prior to my employment here at the police department, I was office manager for the Beaches Museum, where I learned about the history of the beach and the beach community. My husband and I are 6-year residents of Jacksonville Beach, and we couldn't imagine living anywhere else.
The Neptune Beach Police Department is a contemporary agency, and we enjoy the respect and appreciation of our citizens and visitors alike. We are constantly striving to improve and serve our citizens. We do this by utilizing numerous means of patrol. This includes a dedicated motor officer assigned to traffic complaints, vehicle crashes, and curb aggressive driving throughout the city. In 2022, funded by the Federal Justice Assistance Grant, we added 2 robots to help officers safely respond to dangerous calls for service. These devices are remotely operated small robots that, when deemed necessary, can aid in locating dangerous suspects. Our community engagement efforts have now become a model for many other agencies. We do this by routinely planning and hosting community events, such as Chiefs Walks, the ever-popular Christmas golf cart parade, the No Empty Stocking program for less fortunate families, Cookies with the Cop, and the School Safety Liaison program, to name a few. And now to hear more about other city projects and plans, I'd like to introduce you to Colin Moore and Megan Stewart.
Hello, I'm Colin Moore, the Grant Residency Coordinator with the City of Neptune Beach, and I'm excited. So, my department has been involved with the past year, and some things that we got coming up in early 2023. The city was very excited to close out 2 major projects that span multiple years in 2022. Both of these involve grants from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. One was the new culvert constructed at Florida Boulevard and 5th Street. The city received $375,000 for this project. And the other was the new trail and bicycle pedestrian bridge in Jargo Park, for which we received a $200,000 reimbursement. And other, in 2023, Public Works is currently constructing a 1-block connector path from the Jargo Park Trail to the new signalized crosswalk that FDOT is installing at Bay Street and 3rd Street. In the spring, we anticipate having the entire 3-mile route of East Coast Greenway officially designated through Neptune Beach, becoming only the 2nd city in Florida to achieve this goal. Speaking of bikeability, we also wrapped up 2 multi-year bike ped projects with the city of Jacksonville. One was the final installation of an improved crosswalk to the East Coast Greenway, at Kings Road and Florida Boulevard. The other was a year-long bicycle counting program on First Street. Of all obligated bike counters in the United States, we registered the most cyclists on July 4th of last year, 7,354. Even outside of the 4th of July, we averaged 863 cyclists a day, ranking us 5th in the nation based on data from public counters. And as part of the city's resiliency efforts, we have been awarded a $100,000 Resilient Florida planning grant for phase 2 of our vulnerability assessment, with work on identifying critical infrastructure beginning in the coming months. And in July of last year, we launched a resiliency lab in collaboration with Smart North Florida and the North Florida Transportation Planning Organization. Our FORCE project has placed sensors at culvert and undersized pipe locations in order to prioritize our future stormwater infrastructure improvements. Based on the preliminary data we've been gathering, FDOT is now planning to begin a project to implement these sensors in other locations throughout the region. Ultimately, we hope to partner with the TDO and FDOT to leverage federal infrastructure funding for multiple safety and drainage improvements throughout the A1A corridor.
I'm Megan Stewart, Mobility Management Director for the City of Neptune. Our Beaches Town Center continues to be a very popular destination for locals and tourists alike. In 2022, guests of the Beaches Town Center completed over 250,000 individual parking transactions, which averages out to almost 700 transactions per day. One of our big mobility projects last year was the creation of an asphalt management system. We partnered with Smart North Florida and a company called Robotics to perform a complete assessment of all of our city roads. This gives us a full picture of what condition they're in, so that we can precisely identify our problem areas and easily prioritize asphalt resurfacing projects. It also gives us a baseline to work from so we can track road conditions over time.
We sincerely hope that you enjoyed this presentation. The employees of Neptune work hard daily to ensure your our great city are well maintained and protected.
That was great.
The Oscar goes to... Okay, we're right at 8 o'clock, but I would like to have a few minutes for any Q&A from the audience, if you have any. And I have a microphone if you guys need it, if you think you're going to need it. Community, you're going to come over here with theirs. I'll go ahead and turn this on, just in case we need it. And first question? Yes.
Yes. The urban trails, their plans for share the road, paint on the...
And if you can repeat the question.
The question was about urban trails and the plan to paint the road. There's a whole variety. There's like 5 or 6 different ways. So some of it is just painted designation. Some of it's specifically curved. Some of it is, again, one way in certain streets. So there's several different opportunities.
Is that only on certain miles per hour roads?
I don't think that's been a consideration. That's a good
So
question.
you can go on.
She said, was it on certain mile per hour roads? But I don't think so. And then part of that was too to connect destinations. So you see the schools. We have 3 schools right next to Fletcher Middle High School and San Pablo. So obviously that's a place we want to really make sure people can get there safely. Bikes, skateboards, whatever the kids are requiring these days. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you.
That was it? Okay.
Next question. Wait.
First, whoever put the crossing,
Which city are you asking?
Jacksonville,
Okay.
whoever put the crossing request flags up on it, did a great job.
Thank you. That's something we've been talking about for years and years. So what are they called, rapids?
RRFBs. RRFBs.
RRFBs. Yeah, so you push the signal, please wait until the cars come to a complete stop. People are still figuring them out, but there's 2 on Pendon now, and then there's 1 down at Riptide and Ocean Cay. So again, don't start over across the street until people have stopped. Make eye contact with them. But people are really learning, and I know there's a couple coming in Neptune Beach, and then there's some more coming on 3rd Street. So we really want to make 3rd Street crossing a lot safer for pedestrians.
But my question.
Oh, okay. Oh, darn, I was like, that's just softball.
I thought I was with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, the short time we've been in the last about 4 years, we've noticed a huge increase in automobile traffic and the incredible expansion of living quarters on the other side of the coast zone seems to be insane. What factors in planning would that apply to when it comes to our?
Yeah, so depends on the project, what the requirements are. I know with Adventure Landing, they did do a traffic study, and there's been some evaluations of our arteries that they're actually underused. So they're not at their full capacity. I know it doesn't feel like it, but if you drive down Penman Road right now, you're going to be pretty lonely. So at the peak times, yeah, they're definitely very busy. But I would say, again, that's why we want to do what we can to encourage non-automobile travel and really take into consideration. But we are a destination. We know we're bordering a major metropolitan area, so we know we get a lot of visitors out here. It's definitely an issue. It's something we think about. But right now, our focus is really on offering alternatives to the automobile. I like to come home and park my car on weekends and not get in it again, if I can. So that's one of the beautiful parts about living out here.
Any other questions? Really? That's great. I do have one question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'd love to see some kind of historical protections put in place comprehensively across the beaches. Has there been any discussion amongst the mayors about some ways we can do that to protect the charm? And also, that kind of leads into the question about development and just making sure that we're smart about what we're choosing to put in. We are in a FEMA red zone, so we really do have to be careful about the number of the density of the island.
It's a great question. In my other life, I run the Beaches Museum, and one of my former employees was on the wonderful, professionally produced. I'm just kidding. I'm going to stop saying that now. I really don't want you to get in trouble. So historical protections of structures is really difficult to do. Doing neighborhood overlays like you have in Springfield and the Avondale area, things like that, you have to have a certain volume of historic structures to even do that. Putting a historic marker on something doesn't necessarily protect it. Putting something on the National Historic Registry doesn't necessarily protect it. So even at the museum, we've tried to do things just to denote, to recognize people that are taking care of older homes. And the first thing people say is, I don't want to tell me what I can do with my house. It's like, no, we just want to hand you like a little plaque. And you don't have to even hang it, but that's a challenge. But we, unfortunately, because we were a really prosperous community in the 60s and 70s, we tore down a lot of our historic buildings, especially downtown Jackson Beach. Since I get to look at those pictures every day, it's very frustrating that it's already gone. So it's hard to kind of retrofit that. But I would, if there's a way, I would be definitely supportive of looking at it. The only place I think there's even a volume of even enough older homes would be in Atlantic Beach. I don't even think Jacksonville Beach has enough volume. Do you want to address that at all?
What she said. No, I mean, we do, and I've watched it over the last few years, and certainly back to what you said several decades ago, we lost so many historic structures, but I've watched in the last couple of years, we lost some of those historic structures in Atlantic Beach. So I don't know, it is a good question, and actually you had a two-part question, because you're talking about the historic structures, but also the density issues that are impacting our stormwater issues and so on. So there are two things we should be looking at both. I certainly would have dialogue with the queen of history in Atlantic Beach. So, great.
Any other questions? I have two questions. This is for Mayor Ford. What's the status of the water towers? Are the other two coming down, and what's the status of the cell towers going up? And are they really going to be 100 and something feet? And you're not going to put those fake tree limbs on them, right?
Wait a second, I like those trees. Actually, we're not. And so let me first of all address, this is our water tower in Selma Lakeside, that I have to say for our city folks, they took that water tower down in, I think, 24 hours. I've never seen it.
Yes, it's right behind my
It just
house.
disappeared.
Yeah,
If you went
it's
to
done.
work and came home late that night, you didn't even know you lost your water tower. But yes, they are replacing, because that hosted a number of antennas, AT&T and Verizon and so on. So we've been operating with a temporary tower that's half or maybe 2/3 the size it needs to be, and the permanent one is 100 and something feet, it's really tall. I don't recall whether that's much taller, if any taller than the actual water tower. But what we've learned, and what I have learned certainly, is so many people didn't realize we had antennas on the water tower. But when you take the water tower away and you put up a single antenna, then they now know that's an antenna. But no, we are not planning it. We did not arrange with Verizon to have the leaves or the branches put on.
But are the other water towers coming down, or is it just the Selma
I
Lakeside?
want to let Kevin, do you know whether there's any plan? I know of no plan yet on the others.
Okay.
But what I do know, and I want to share with the citizens, because it's kind of important to me, is my takeaway and my learning from the exercise of this water tower is anytime in city government, and I hope it's any city government, but in Atlantic Beach, anytime we have a major project that specifically impacts one segment of the community, we have to do a really good job of getting that information out to the community and letting them have a voice before we actually sign the contract. So that maybe, we could have, if we went back, maybe done something different. But right now, we're pretty well baked on that deal. We're getting a new cell phone tower, or tower that hosts multiple antennas in favor of the water tower. But just so everybody understands, the water towers, and I don't know that I can speak for other beaches, but the water towers for us are obsolete. It would cost us more to maintain them than what it costs to buy the pumps, to have surface pumps to handle our water needs. So there is water towers.
And just one more question, just to all of you, but when are the pedestrian crossings supposed to come online, where the lights are and stuff? You guys have a date?
I almost escaped. And so I have no idea. If you asked about a public safety question, I would be able to answer that too. To be honest, that's the best answer I can. It looks like somebody knows.
So FDOT sent an email recently saying that the ones on 3rd Street will probably come online in like the summer time frame.
So summer 2023.
Yes.
What they're predicting.
Spring or summer is what I think they said. Yeah.
So, for those of you who have not used the pedestrian crossings, they have a button and they have lights. And the lights tell the traffic to stop for you to cross. And I will see people at our 11th Street crossing in Atlantic Beach stand there and waiting and waiting and waiting. And I finally roll my window down and go, if you push the button, the light will come on and they will stop. Probably, they're supposed to anyway, but like whoever said, make sure you wait till the time.
That was me.
So yeah, to round back on that, on two subjects for public safety specifically. So we have engaged on that regard for public information to begin a process to make sure our visitors and residents alike understand how to use the hop signal or crosswalk signal. They've been around Jacksonville for obviously a significant amount of time. Guano is one of the first places I actually started to notice them. And then additionally, for the law enforcement side of it, we've begun to ensure that our officers understand that that is going to be an area that they need to focus on, ensuring that people are complying with it right first, and then enforcing it afterwards.
Yes. So just be mindful, especially driving down 3rd Street, because there's so many distractions already. But when you see those flashing lights, please check your rearview mirror, make sure the person behind you is also being cognizant of that.
Put your cell phones down.
Yes, yes.
I looked up the email and it said completion of all work is expected spring 2023, weather and unforeseen circumstances permitting. So that's official from
We're coming
FDOT.
into it, just be mindful that it's coming online in the next few months. So anyway, any other questions, any closing comments? If not, let's give a hand for our Jessica?
Yeah.
Just later. All right.
Thank you, thank you all.
Thank you all.
for
Okay, so thank you all for coming tonight. Again, this is recorded. Please watch it on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. And if you are able, please
Going to be the next mayor.
and staff them, help the staff so we get out of here on time. Thank you very much.